Okay, welcome back to the flipped class. Yesterday we talked a little bit about decimals and just kind of had an introductory lesson. Today we're going to get a little bit deeper. We're going to delve a little bit deeper. Okay, we're going to convert fractions with denominators of 10 or 100 to decimals. Okay, so I know that's pretty exciting. All right, let's go over some key vocabulary. Decimal, a number with one or more digits to the right of the decimal point. Okay, so if it has a decimal, if you use a decimal and there are one or more digits that are not zero, that are to the right of the decimal point, you've got a decimal. Okay? Decimal point. It's a symbol used to separate dollars and cents, okay, or whole numbers and fractions, as well as ones and tenths. Okay? So for example, $3.23. That little period there, that's our decimal point. It's not a period, it's a decimal point. It looks the same though. They're cousins. Okay? Alright, let's label the place value in our decimals journals. Okay? You don't have your decimal journal with you right now, but what I'd like you to do is write this with me so you can bring it tomorrow and we can get that started. Okay? We've got all these numbers. Okay? Now, do you see a decimal point? You shouldn't, because I have it covered up. Okay? So we know what all these place values are. Okay? And I'm not going to write them all down, but I'm going to say them to you. Okay? The number we have is 453,421,782. Okay? So we have our periods. And like we say it, and then you say the period, right? 453,421,782. Okay? 100 millions, 10 millions, millions, right? 100,000s, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, ones, but we don't have a decimal. Yeah, let's take care of that problem, shall we? Now we've got a decimal. That means that there's some numbers to the right of the decimal. Okay, let's look at those. So we have 453,421,782. It's a huge number, and then 36 hundredths. Okay? What are these? Well, decimal point, tenths, hundredths. Okay? Tenths with the HS at the end is here. Hundredths with the THS is here. Alright? We can relate fractions and decimals. This fraction, it's 1. 1 out of 1. It's one whole, right? Or 1.0. There's no fraction there. There's nothing besides that, okay? The decimal would be 1.0. There is no fraction. There's no tenths. There's no hundred. There's just one big block, okay? But look at this. We've got that same whole, that same square, but this time it's cut up into 10 pieces. And I've filled in, I don't know how well you can see that, but I filled in 3 out of the 10 pieces, okay? So your fraction is 3 tenths. And you know that from when we talked about fractions. That's not new, that's not scary or surprising or anything else. Our fraction here, I've got 3 filled in, 1, 2, 3, out of, and that's my numerator, right? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 total pieces, okay? If we break that to a decimal, you read the decimal just like you read the fraction. The fraction is 3 tenths, okay? Well, if I'm going to write it as a decimal, we know that since it's a fraction, it goes to the right of the decimal point, 0.3, or 3 tenths, okay? There's nothing in the hundredths place, okay? There's no hundredths here, right? That's all there is to that. Here we go. Now we've got some hundredths, okay? Again, same sized square as the whole number and as the tenths. But in this case, look at that. We chopped it up. That's 100 blocks. I won't make it count it, okay? Just take my word for it, all right? So the fraction form, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks filled in, so 4 parts of the whole, okay? And then how many blocks are there total? Well, there's 100. So we have 4 out of 100, or 4 hundredths. And that's just how you would say it from when we did fractions, okay? Decimal, just as easy, okay? You know it's a decimal to the right of the decimal point because it's a fraction. It's not a whole number. Whole numbers go on the left, fractions or pieces of the whole go on the right. So I have my decimal point, which is really important. There's no tenths, okay? If you read that, you say 4 hundredths, right? You don't say tenths. It's not broken into 10 pieces. It's broken into 100 pieces, okay? So 0 tenths and 4 in the hundredths place. 4 hundredths is the same as 4 hundredths. Okay? It's the same thing. Let's look at another one. Maybe. Wake up! Alright. This is my funny bit that I'm doing for this video. The technology is not working. Right? Isn't it funny? I'm so creative. Yeah. Alright, here we go. Helpful tip. The fractions and decimals we will be working with will either be tenths or hundredths, okay? This is $1. If you look at it in decimal form, $1 and no cents, no change, okay? Check it. 10 dimes equals $1, okay? 1 dime is 1/10 of a dollar, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 cents is $1. So 1 dime is 1/10 of a dollar. 0.1, 1/10, okay? Check it out, and that really is 100 pennies. I wouldn't fool you, okay? Right? 100 pennies also equals $1. But if you just take 1 penny out, that's 1 penny out of the 100 that it takes to equal $1. So you have 1/100th of a dollar, or 0.01. Okay? So 100. So when you're thinking about decimals, the easiest way that I can do it is to either think about it as fractions and how it would break down into a decimal, because if you're looking at tenths or hundredths, it's very easy. Or look at it in terms of dollars and cents, because that's the same thing. Okay? That's probably where you're most familiar with seeing decimals. Okay, let's practice reading some numbers. This is 1,309. You read the whole number just the same as if there wasn't a decimal there. 1,309 and 4/10, because it's in the tenths place. 312 and 95 hundredths. 312 and 95 hundredths. You notice I'm just reading what's there and I'm putting the place value after it. 312, you know how to say that, it's easy, okay? And then I'm just reading the number 95 because that's what I see. That 5 is in the hundredths place, 312 and 95 hundredths, okay? Big number, but look, it doesn't change the decimal at all, okay? Don't be intimidated by the fact that this number is big and some of the numbers you're going to see is little, okay? 1,098,210 and 31 hundredths, okay? Same deal. 5 and 2/10. The decimals don't change. Doesn't matter if it's in the millions or in the ones. 5 and 2/10. 58 and 77 hundredths. Okay? 855 and 12 hundredths. That's all I've got for you today. Okay? Come tomorrow with any questions you might have. Come prepared to work on some decimals. We'll see you then.